Hey y'all, Kristen here. Really happy to be with you today. Yeah, it is. I've been sick. If you read the newsletter on Monday, you know that I've been sick and I'm finally feeling, I would say 85, 90% recovered now. And so I'm feeling more like myself again. But it's really interesting that I got so much out of being sick. And it's an amazing, amazing thing to live in a framework, a paradigm that allows things to really suck and be terrible and get tremendous benefit out of it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't used to know how to do that. And the fact that I do know how to do it now is really being a game changer for me, especially uh, given something like COVID or whatever it is that I had. I mean, it was nasty and it was so sneaky. One of the nights that I wasn't feeling well, I tried to watch this movie called Apex. It's on, I think it's Netflix right now. And Charlize Theron, who's a beast, she played this woman who loved these extreme sports. And uh, I won't, I won't ruin the movie. If you're interested, go watch the movie. But she was super athletic and very highly physically trained and capable. And so there's a part of the movie where she's in Australia and she um, is starting to be stalked by a predator, a predator man. And she goes through all these experiences of being stalked. And she's like, oh, she thinks she's okay and she's gotten away from him. And boom, there he is. He shows up again. And so I bring this up because my experience of having COVID this time is that it was stalking me. And I was sick, and then I would think, oh, I'm okay. And at first I didn't think I had COVID, but I would get better and I'd think, oh, great, this is done now. And then a few hours later, another fever would come over me. And then there was all this respiratory problems and stuffy breathing and then at the end it went from my head to my chest and there was a cough and the cough was the worst, y'all. And and I had some scary moments where the coughing, the reflex to cough would not calm down and it was hard to even get a breath in there in between the coughing. And so I was having to really use my skills to to work with my body to deal with these things that were happening. And I was really feeling like it was stalking me, like it was this really sneaky predator, and it would let me get a little better, and then boom, it would hit me, and then it would boom, it would hit me, and it was bad. And so I realized at one point that I could call on my living flame. And I haven't talked too much about this experience that I'm teaching now about anchoring your own life energy into this thing that I call the living flame. But I decided to call on it in this time of illness. So I did, and it's not any big fancy deal. It's just this activation of heart energy that in my mind is like the connection to the essence of me, the distilled part of me that's really um, it's not only who I'm being now, but it also contains my potential. So it's not limited by who I am in this moment. The the living flame can just become even more than it is right now. Um, and when it becomes more, then it gives me more capacity. I like this word capacity a lot because we think, well, I'm a human being, I can only do so much. Well, this is kind of why the living flame, in my opinion, is such a valuable thing to access in your. So I was having this coughing that was pretty scary, and I had a need, and I called on this flame energy, and it gave me access. And so it's not black and white. But it's just so interesting that the body has these mechanisms that it won't use when it's in fight or flight. I've explained this to you. When your body is in fight or flight, it thinks, okay, this is an emergency. And when you're in an emergency physically, you need all of your resources to go to fight, flight, freeze, or now I've actually recently come across this idea that there's one other one, which is like I call it fawning, which is sort of a people-pleasing attitude. And so none of those will activate the body's coherence. You have to actually step away from that whole mechanism called the sympathetic nervous system and activate the parasympathetic. And when you do that and you're in this heart coherence, then the body is like, oh, okay, now we can work on this. And so physiologically, you actually have resources that you couldn't use until you got yourself back into this condition of being heart coherent. So I'm super excited about that, and I think you should be excited about it too, because if you know that, there's can be all kinds of reasons that you're stirred up or upset about things. Doesn't have to be a physical illness, but when you know that the body has reserves that it can't access while you're in the upset and the fight or flight or flee, freeze or fawn, then you can actually tell yourself, okay, I need to step back from what I'm up to with this fight or flight thing, and I need to get back in touch with my living flame. And out of that, I can access more of who I am. And isn't that really what you want anyway? George Bernard Shaw has this great quote. You might have heard it. I want to be totally used up when I die. Well, how can you be used up if you haven't even brought all of you forward? So this is what I want to do with the rest of my life is keep bringing these pieces forward. And what I've come to believe is there's no limit to what's available to be brought forward. There's no cap on our potential as humans. But what does limit us is that we stop before we've accessed it. And that's what I'm offering you is the opportunity to learn how to do is how to bring more of you forward no matter what challenge life throws at you. I'm offering you the opportunity to learn how to bring more of your capacity out that's currently not being used because it hasn't been called on yet. So that's actually why you can be grateful for challenges. Why I could even be sitting here saying, well, I felt really bad for a week, but I'm grateful for it now because look at all that has the gifts that it gave rise to within me. So what happens when you don't know about any of this? It's kind of like I've been telling you about how it was when I had my last corporate job, and there were several years where my spirit was saying, "This isn't fitting for you anymore. You need to move on. You need to go. You need to leave." And I wouldn't do it because it was so secure and so comfortable, and it couldn't make any sense to me. So I stayed, and for those years there was no potential coming forward. I was good at what I did and I did what I did and I didn't need to do more and I didn't do more. So that's the price that you pay for staying in a safe situation. And this is not to say to be foolish either. But when you have begin to have a trust, sorry, when you begin to have a trust for this idea that more potential will come forward when it's needed and it's called on, and that you can access your willingness to do that by accessing your living flame, amplifying your heart coherence, and other things that we've talked about, then you can have more courage in the way that you live your life and approach what you want, your dreams, your visions, that yearning. We give up so many times on those things because we get disappointed and failures stack up, and all of that gets to be a covering over this access to the living flame. But it doesn't have to be that way or stay that way. So there's science, and then there's soul, the experience of being in a body, living in a body, and science measuring the body. But the two the two have relationship, but they're not the same. Science measures cells, but your experience is who you are. And this feeling of identity is super, super important. It turns out that who you believe you are is so much what builds the walls that you live your life inside of. And so learning how to have a more fluid identity, learning how to live with the sense that you have unlimited potential that can be called forward at any particular time. This is a different orientation to life than I'm so and so and I do this and I go there and I live here and my name is this and it's all fixed and it's all settled and I don't and I live inside of that. That's not that's not going to take you to the end of your potential, which actually what I already said, you won't find the end of your potential. There you can stop wherever you want to. There's nothing that says you have to call forward more. But many of us are very interested in that at this point in our lives. We want to know, what else am I? Who else can I be? What else is available to me? And so, this idea that the flame is the source of all this potential, to me, this is what is so exciting about this idea of living in relationship to this flame, because it's like living in relationship with the self that you don't even know yet that you are becoming. The connection to your own becoming. And that's why I love it so much. So that's what happened to me when I used the flame in the middle of this experience is I became more. I accessed more of me. And and that's why I can be happy and grateful now about this experience, because I felt like instead of getting sick and coming to the end of myself, I got sick and accessed more of myself. That's the clearest way that I can say it. So let's move on to our guided practice now. So if you're in a place where it's safe to do so, close your eyes and imagine seeing yourself in a mirror. If you have a mirror available and you want to commune with yourself, so to speak, feel free to do this in front of a mirror. But don't look at yourself to do an assessment. Look at yourself to to establish rapport and to feel a connection. And we start with our heart activation, putting your hand over your heart to begin, and then just breathing in 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, hovering for 4, inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, hovering at the bottom for 4. One more time. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold at the bottom for 4. Now, I want you to take charge of the signal that you're sending your body and deliberately use this experience of heart coherence and then send a new signal. And you can send whatever signal that you want. But the one that I'm recommending is the signal, I'm here now. Just letting that land. And then I'm adding to it for myself. I'm activating more of me. And that feels so good, friends. To me, this feels so good. It just feels like such a gift that I can give myself. I'm letting more of me come forward. I'm receiving more of who I am and being excited to explore who am I now? Who am I becoming? Who is this part of me that's just come forward? So, it made me smile. I hope it makes you smile. Smile from your inside. Smile to know that there's no limit to your becoming. And then just notice that whoever this new you is, she was already there, already inside, queued up almost like waiting to come forward, waiting to be called upon, waiting to be the new you, and knowing that this new you can be superseded by a newer you at any time, and that there's nothing scary or wrong about that. That the new you is a constant becoming. There's always a new you. You're never stuck in any place in your life when you're willing to activate this capacity of more of who you are. So, I'm creating a whole course about coming home to you. And it isn't ready. I wanted it to be ready by now, but it's not ready yet. But the more I work on it, the better it gets. So I can't really say that I'm sorry that if I had published it 2 weeks ago, it wouldn't have what it has today. So we'll just both see when it's ready and we'll enjoy it together. And I can't wait for that. And have a blessed weekend, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye for now.